us is Ole Miss at Florida, but there's some other good games too. And experience the action at BetMGM Book Bar and Grill, only at the Beau Rivage on the beautiful Mississippi Gulf Coast. BetMGM is the king of sportsbooks, and Beau Rivage's MGM Book Bar and Grill is the South's premier Vegas-style sportsbook, and it's awesome. I've been down there many a times, and it's a beautiful day with the sunshine out. I bet the Mississippi Gulf Coast is popping. We want to welcome in Carl Johnson, sportsbook manager for the BetMGM Book Bar and Grill at the Beau Rivage, and Carl joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Carl Johnson, good morning. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, good morning, Bo. Good to talk to you guys. Wow, what an interesting year, right?
Oh, my goodness. I can't even wrap my brain around college football. I don't know who the best team. We got a bunch of good teams, Carl, but no dominant team like we've had in the past.
That's true. I mean, we're so used to, Georgia dominating the last couple of years, and then all of a sudden, we get a team we get excited. We get a team, Ole Miss, returning, 20-something players. They had a lot of juice coming into the season, and they continue. Look, we packed the house with Ole Miss and LSU fans and Bama fans, and it's just been one crazy year, and you're right. When it gets down to this final 12 here, this is going to be interesting, and anybody can win it, I think.
Carl Johnson with the Beau Rivage on the Out of Bounds show. He's right. It's game on the next couple of weeks as we wrap this thing up, but then go into the playoffs. Carl, it's so funny. People counted Bama out. They lose to Vandy at Vandy. They lose to Tennessee at Tennessee, and then they've done what they need to do, and they're right back in the thick of it as far as college football playoff rankings, Carl.
Yeah, that's true. You look at, I think what they've done, it's obviously tough replacing Saban and all that that goes with him. But, I think what they've done with their new coach coming in is they've set themselves a solid foundation. Not that they didn't have, they had already had a great foundation. But the main thing with them is they're 6-0 at home, so they've carried that. They're 4-0 non-conference. I think the biggest mistake, that people were talking about is they just had that Vanderbilt collapse. And,
right.
But other than that, they're right there, and they're going to be one of the 12 teams that get in. I believe, and it's going to be on.
Have you ever? So Ole Miss is having a heck of a season. They had a couple bumps with Kentucky and LSU, and then they come back and they win 3 in a row, Carl, against Oklahoma, Arkansas, and then the big one at home against Georgia. Have you had more money bet on Ole Miss games this year than any year since y'all have had the book?
100%. And one of the things that we had this year more than any year, so we've been, we got here in 2018. We opened up, so we're in 6 years now. We have good Ole Miss crowds every week. But this year, I really noticed the futures market for Ole Miss. We had everybody buying a ticket, which is, it's a little different. So they knew that they had a good team. Offensively, I think everybody knew that they were going to be all right. It was their defensively was the question. But 5-1 at home, 3-1 on the road, 4-0 in non-conference play. I like where they're at. And look, that you can say that, I've heard some people say, man, I kind of feel like they're giving it up. But when you look at the overall landscape of college football right now, it just seems like Georgia's had their struggles.
Right. Texas
has had their struggles. Of course, LSU is in a debacle right now, but I think it just goes for the parity of the league. They're in good position, and they're going to have a chance to make a run at it.
So what's your most bet college team at the BetMGM Book Bar and Grill at the Beau Rivage? Is it LSU or is it another team, Carl?
Bo, we're so centrally located. I get asked that question a lot, and it just really we're solid on the futures book, and we're generally solid every week because we have Georgia fans, and look, a lot of it has to do with your show. I mean, you cover a lot of that area. We've got Georgia fans, Tennessee fans, Alabama fans, LSU fans that constantly pass through here. So we get a really good balance. I would say in the past couple of years, with the exception of this year, we've probably had more LSU bets. But the people have caught on now. They're laying off a little bit. We're getting some Vandy money here this week, and
nice.
To be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if Vandy don't beat LSU this week. I know that's probably not going to go over good with some fans down here, but.
Hey, you never know, Carl. I mean, Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt. They can play. They can play a little football.
Look, they're 6 points away from being like 5-1 or something like that in the SEC. I mean, they get beat by 3 to Texas, and 3 to somebody else.
Overtime to Missouri, right?
Yeah. So I mean, wow. I mean, just think about that. When's the last time we talked about Vandy?
I tell you, a sleeper game this week. I mean, Ole Miss at Florida is a huge game for you and for us. Because Florida's showing some signs of playing better football against a brutal schedule, and if both of the quarterbacks aren't knocked out against both Tennessee and Georgia, who knows? They may have split those games or won both.
Right.
But to me, a sleeper game. We're visiting with Carl Johnson, sports manager of the BetMGM Book Bar and Grill at the Beau Rivage on the beautiful Mississippi Gulf Coast. But a sleeper game may be A&M at Auburn because A&M's better, but Auburn's got a hell of a defense, and they've been up double digits 3 times, Carl, and given games away this year in the second half.
Yeah, that's true. And they're like a lot of teams out there. They've struggled at times. I mean, look at the little turnaround that Texas A&M's made since they made their coaching change. So. But you're right. Right now we're at Texas A&M. We opened up at 2.5, 47.5 there, with Auburn getting a couple of points at home. So that should be a good one. For us, we'll probably be balanced bet there. So we'll see.
How much? So Ole Miss, where are you right now as far as the line with Ole Miss at Florida?
Yeah, so Ole Miss, we opened at 9.5, 55.5, and they're being bet a little bit. We moved it to 10. And look, if they play any defense at all, I think offensively they'll be okay. But you're right. Look, Florida's been under the gun here the last few weeks. It looks like they're taking a stand. They played much better against LSU. So. Should be a good game. I kind of like Ole Miss a little bit here, and it looks like they're getting bet.
Me too. It looks like a lot of the over 60% or so of the money's coming in on the Rebs. Visiting with Carl Johnson, BetMGM Book Bar and Grill at the Beau Rivage on the beautiful Mississippi Gulf Coast. We've got another great weekend of college football and the NFL, and it's been a heck of a season. Rebs making a run at the college football playoff. If they win out, they are in, and then we're trying to figure out who's in the SEC championship game. If A&M wins this weekend, looks like the winner of A&M and Texas will play Bama if Bama wins out against Oklahoma and Auburn, which they should, but that doesn't mean anything. That's why, as Carl knows, that's why they got to play it.
That's right.
Okay, NFL. Saints have been wild. They start off 2-0, then they can't win a game, then they fire their coach, Carl, and now they're winning again. What's going on?
We've been talking about this the last couple of weeks. Beau, I mean, you know this. I mean, sometimes it just takes a change. Sometimes you just got to make a change. So, they've obviously struggled this season, and then, they make a change. I think the players are buying in. They seem to be rejuvenated. And sometimes that's all it takes. I mean, we had a lot of we had a lot of liability, and we still do, on Tampa Bay for that NFC South. So for us, I mean, we're kind of hoping that the Saints can make a late run here, and then we're also hoping that Atlanta can kind of hang on. So
Yeah.
Atlanta leads that division with a 6-5 record. Tampa Bay and New Orleans are right behind them. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, Atlanta needs to play better football than the last couple of weeks. They're a better team than that. Did you have a good bit of action on Kansas City Chiefs at the Bills, Carl?
We did. That was our most heavily bet game for the weekend. It actually came out to be a good result for us.
Nice.
Yeah, so we had opened here. Bills had opened up as 2.5-point favorites. We took substantial Chiefs money, and rightfully so. I mean, what they've done now. When they're favorites and they play at home, they don't seem to cover. But Mahomes is an underdog. It was a pretty solid bet, but you just had a sense that the Bills were finally going to reach over the mountain there and get a win, and they did, and it was good for us.
You got 49ers and Green Bay Packers this weekend, and that's a big one. It's always big here because Brett Favre playing there forever. We got so many Packers fans, but those are two big brands, 49ers at the Packers. I bet you'll get some action on that game, Carl.
We will. 49ers struggled a little bit. The Packers, they're trying to, I think, establish their new identity with their new quarterback and new offensive schemes. But right now the Packers, we opened them up at minus 1.5 and 47.5. It'll be and you're right. That's another thing too, is that I noticed the people in Mississippi, they bet. Down here we get a lot of action for like their local quarterbacks for like Heisman, and of course they bet with the Packers when Brett Favre was still playing, he was heavily bet. So the Mississippi fans are loyal, extremely loyal to their hometown boys.
What's the biggest bet you've taken in this football season?
Oh Lord. Yeah, the biggest one, to be honest with you, I would say, I think somewhere around 600,000 we took on a game. But look, we take some really big action. We've got several players that play 6-digit numbers per game. So. It's just one of those things where sometimes you don't know where you're going to end up, who you're going to end up needing until, a couple of minutes before kickoff. And that's just, that's the sweat of this,
Right.
It can go all week being bet one way, and then bam, you take in an upper 6-digit wager on the other side. So
unreal.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Carl Johnson on the Out of Bounds Show, sports manager for the BetMGM Book Bar and Grill at the Beau Rivage on the beautiful Mississippi Gulf Coast. All right, what's the ratio of parlays to just straight line bets, Carl?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty often asked question. I think we, along with most books, we run about 85% of the bets wagered are parlay bets.
Wow.
From a book standpoint, that's
a beautiful thing.
We like that. Sometimes it's hard to win one game, much less when you're linking them together. But
right.
Yeah, we do a large volume of parlays, and of course this time of the season, and it's a smart move. We're starting to see a lot of big teaser action. And the concept behind that is that, the books have had, 10 or 11 weeks to get these numbers pretty solid. We've got a pretty good feel of where these teams are at when they play each other. And then, the teaser action, the thought process is that anytime the bettor gets a chance to move those things 6 points, 6.5, there's an edge there. It's just that, you might want to think about going two teamers or three teamers instead of 8 and 9 teamers.
Right.
More often than not, it's one team that costs you a ticket.
That's right. Carl Johnson on the Out of Bounds show. All right, so let's wrap it up with this. Let's talk about the experience at the BetMGM Book Bar and Grill at the Beau.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. After year one, y'all shut it down, did a multi-million-dollar renovation. It is a beautiful spot to hang out with buddies, friends, couples, enjoy the games. Got a beautiful center bar. Just talk about the experience there, Carl.
Yeah, I mean, look, one of the things that we've tried to instill here. So, this is the Beau Rivage, and if you haven't been here, when you walk into this place, you do get the sensation that you are in a Vegas-style casino in downtown Las Vegas. You just do. And a lot of these places that you walk into down here, you don't get that feeling. So we had a real high standard to achieve when we opened the sports betting here. One of the things that we set out to do was to absolutely get the best writers and train them the best that we could. To where they could go write tickets anywhere in the world. We had a call-in for horse racing, so we implemented horse racing. It's just a great experience. You walk in the restaurant, outstanding menu, all the things that a fat boy like me likes. Chicken wings, cheeseburgers, bacon. So we got some good stuff. Got some good beer. It's just an unbelievable atmosphere. We experience it every weekend, and I did a show with, I do Lombardi every Monday.
Yeah.
And I was asked about the Tyson fight. So we just had the Tyson fight this past Friday night. And I'm going to tell you, it felt like we were back in like 1987 with the crowd, the way it was absolutely packed in here. It was standing room outside of the book with people trying to look in. But it's just a great atmosphere. If you haven't been here, you need to come here. And, you'll enjoy it.
Carl, thank you so much. We're going to do this again in a couple of weeks, my man. I appreciate it.
Good deal, Beau. You guys have a good day.
All right. Thank you, Carl Johnson, sports book manager at the BetMGM Book Bar and Grill, only at the Beau Rivage on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. It is a cool spot. It was brought to you by an ice-cold Stella Artois and the wings that he was talking about in the Beau Rivage, or a Tito's vodka and soda with an orange. All right, so there we go. Money's coming in. Ole Miss has been one of the big teams that people have been betting and showing up to see at the Beau Rivage. That does not surprise us. Everything's in front of them. They win, they're in. They're at number 9 in the college football playoff rankings. If they did it today, they'd play at Indiana, which is delicious for Ole Miss fans because they are better. Indiana's a nice football team. They are well coached, and we've talked about their coach all year. But Ole Miss is by far and away superior in the line of scrimmage and as far as speed and athletes and depth.
Yeah, you got to be licking your chops there.
Got to be. And you could flip this and actually, if things
host them,
you could, So you could flip. Now that you're at 9, you just, depending on the way this thing shuffles out, you could be hosting right now. You'd be in Bloomington, Indiana. That means nothing. We still have 2 more regular season games and then a championship all the way across SEC, Big Ten, ACC, Big 12. Plus, we got to see what happens with the G5 and an independent. Everybody's monitoring Notre Dame and so on. We mentioned Tulane and Army with Luganville, maybe, or some Mike Detillier a couple of days ago.
Oh yeah,
and what's happening there? John Summerall at Tulane's done an amazing job. Jeff Munkin, Todd Munkin's brother, Todd's at Baltimore Ravens OC, was at Southern Miss for I think 1 year, one or two. He won quick, got out of there. And he was at Georgia under Kirby for at least one national championship. And then John Harbaugh hired him. But we got all kinds of scenarios that could play out. Hey, thanks for listening to the show. The Jake Mangum interview, he found out yesterday while playing golf at Old Waverly. The Jake Mangum interview will be on Apple Podcasts or Spotify within the hour. Search Out of Bounds with Beau Bounds. We would love for you to hit the subscribe button. Carl Johnson was great. He is the sportsbook manager with the BetMGM Book Bar and Grill, only at the Beau Rivage on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Lunch today brought to you by the Redfish Sandwich at Martin's in Livingston. We'll see you tomorrow.